Hello, well it's Ken Penrose. I'm interviewing Ted Swain in the porter cabin at Southwold Railway Headquarters on Wednesday 16th of August 2017. And Ted is going to tell us about his time at working on the southern region of British Railways. So Ted, what's your full name?
Edwin Charles Swain.
Yeah.
And the age is just coming up within a couple of weeks to 77.
77, okay. So, where were you born, Ted?
Sidcup in Kent.
Sidcup?
12th of September 1940, 3 days before the end of the Battle of Britain.
Oh, right, yeah, it was the Battle of Britain, wasn't it? Yeah. So, where did you go to? Oh, well, how many children were there in the family?
There was 5 of us. I was number 4.
Right.
But at the time there was only 4.
Yeah.
The 5th one hadn't been born.
Right. And what did your father do for a living?
My father was a fireman on London Fire Service, or LCC Fire Service.
Right, London County Council in those days. Yeah.
And there was one time he brought home an incendiary bomb that had been dewatered and everything. It's now in the museum.
Yeah.
At Lowestoft.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
right. Well, at least that's safe, isn't it? And
yeah.
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 So that's part of his air raid duties, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as I say, that is in there.
Yeah.
But, as I say, he was in that for, how many years? I don't know off the top of my head. But he was in it for until he retired early, about 1955 or 1960, I think it was. And I started myself on the railway in January 1955.
And when you say you started on the railway, did you make an application or?
Oh yeah, we made an application. I had to go for a
interview.
A medical. I had an interview.
And where did you have the interview?
At Hither Green.
Hither Green.
Yeah. And the depot is still in the same place.
Is that in Kent? Hither Green. Yeah.
Hither Green, London.
London. Yeah, Lewisham.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's in a triangle, and it's still in the same place today.
Right. And when did you have that interview?
In the December of 56. 55.
55. So not many years after the disaster at Hither Green. Was that
no,
or was that later?
That was a little bit later.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
that one at Hither Green with the bridge coming down.
Yeah.
Was a 34066 Spitfire.
Right.
From Ramsgate crew, and they ran through a red light.
Right. Is it in fog or?
It was a thick. It was a pea super.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, when I say a pea super, the length of this room, you wouldn't have seen it.
No.
It'd disappeared. You know.
Yeah.
It was really. They used to really have proper pea supers.
Yeah.
But I was on a push bike, luckily.
Yeah.
So I was able to get a journey so far and then push bike it. They were running trains, I think, as far as New Cross. And then they were towing them around from there. So I got to New Cross and I pedalled bikes the rest of the way to Sidcup.
There's a lot of people killed in that disaster, weren't there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my uncle was on the diesel train that was in front of the electric train, that the steam train went up the rear end.
Oh, right. What was his name then?
He was a diesel driver out of St Leonard's.
Do you know his name or?
Charlie Bishop.
Charlie Bishop. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was his name, yeah.
Right.
And so I met him a few times before he retired. But after that, he didn't want to know me.
Okay.
let's take it outside.
Yeah, he didn't want to know. I think he must have got
Yeah.
probably dementia or something like that. You know?
Yeah. Anyway, going back to your first day, so you did pass your medical, passed your interview,
Yeah.
and you started working
On
where?
At
where?
Hither Green.
You started at Hither Green.
Yeah,
And-
and it was a Monday, I think. You
Yeah.
know.
Do you know the date?
Oh God, it was about the 5th or the 6th of January, 1956.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I had left school at the December for the Christmas holidays.
Yes.
I was going to go back to school, but I thought about it on the holiday. I thought, well, I ain't doing it very good, like, you know, being dyslexic.
Yeah, you had the problem dyslexia, didn't you?
And I eventually pulled out altogether and went to work, which I picked up well. You know.
You enjoyed it?
Oh yeah.
And so, how many?
I started as an engine cleaner,
Yeah.
and I'd done that for about a fortnight, 3 weeks. And the charge hand foreman come round one day and said, right, there were 6 of us in the gang. We was doing C classes and N classes and U-boats
Mhm.
at Hither Green. And he said, I want a volunteer to do the messenger job. So he asked the senior man in the gang, would you like to do it? What time do I finish? 11 o'clock at night. Not interested. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, me, I got it. I couldn't have asked for a nicer job.
What time do you have to start in the morning? Or in the evening?
7 o'clock.
7 in the morning, yeah.
And if you used to finish at 3, when you was in the afternoon one, you come on at 2:30, I think it was. And you worked officially to 10:30.
Right.
And I was normally home and indoors somewhere about 7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
So, you know, it was a case of perhaps take the local messages to 1 or 2 drivers that might be around the Green area.
Can you think of any of their names?
No,
No, not now.
Way back.
Okay.
Way back. And as I say, I got back to the Loco, and then I had to take the letters up to the sorting office at Waterloo, which was next door to the canteen. At Waterloo, you used to go in and go down some steps. I think the steps are still there. It was the round bit that was above it. There was 3 or 4 steps. It was down to underground stations and that. And used to be a little room off the side. And you make the, go and get yourself a cup of tea or 2 or 3 cups of tea while you're waiting, and eventually make your way back to the sorting office, get your letters for Hither Green, and off you went, took them back. And sometimes you'd be back there at 8 o'clock, and sometimes earlier than that even. And they used to say, well, we ain't got nothing for you, ta-da. So home I went. But when I was on the morning shift and that, I went one time, I had to take a letter up to Derby. So that was a nice little train ride for me. All right, it took the best part of 8 hours to get there and back, but, it was somewhere where I'd never been before in my life, or perhaps might never go again. And then I had another trip where I went to Eastleigh, and that gave me my little inkling later on about putting in for Nine Elms.
Yeah. Was that Eastleigh Works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
in Hampshire.
of course, when I go in and take the letters to the office, they said, go and have a look round the works.
Yeah.
So, of course, you go in, you've got Merchant Navy's there, West Country's, Battle of Britain's, Lord Nelson's. There was a couple of schools, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
which I fired to at different times, you know.
Yeah.
So I got my hand in quite a bit when I was 16 plus, but then at that time I was only approaching 16, so I was still classed as a cleaner. But with the job that I was doing, I was getting junior driver's rate.
Right. Which was how much?
Which was about £8 odd.
Right. Yeah.
Plus.
A week. Yeah.
A week, which
Yes.
was
A big.
better than £3 10 shillings.
Yeah. How much?
Right,
How much was
cleaner.
rent in those days? A week.
Oh, I was living with my mum and
Okay.
dad, so, you
So-
know, I just, you know, used to give them a fiver
Yeah.
and
But I'm trying to put it. I mean, £8
Yeah.
wasn't a bad wage.
no, no,
Not at all, was it?
No. I think a fireman wage at that time, appointed fireman, was about £7 an hour. Oh, £7 a day, like.
Yeah.
But when I actually got firing at 16,
How did you become firing? How did someone
well,
recommend
they-
you? Or?
when you were
Oh.
16, they sent you up to the firing school.
Oh, right. And where was that?
That was at Bricklayers Arms.
And where was that?
Bricklayers
No.
Arms was up to London Bridge, and then you've got a 21 bus, more or less to the left of London Bridge, down Borough Market that way, and then I've lost the
Yeah.
names of the places, like, but you used to come down to a big crossroads, you used to turn left and go down the old Kent Road, I think it was.
Oh, right. Right.
And then Bricklayers Arms
Was
down
there?
there.
Yeah. Was that a pub and a bit or just an area or a station or
It was a big depot.
a big depot?
Big depot.
Okay, right.
They didn't have, I don't know how many roads they had in this shed, but they had a couple of turntables in the sheds.
Yes.
So, you know, I never actually went through their sheds, but as I say, it was an experience.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got back, you know, to Hither Green, and I'm still doing the messenger's job there. But then all of a sudden they said, right, well, you can't do that no more. You're a past fireman, so we might want you
Yeah.
to do a fireman's job. So I come off of doing the messenger's job, and then the main thing with that was the hours. You know, you never knew when you was going to start. I mean,
right.
sometimes you start at 3 o'clock in the morning.
How did they contact you to when to start?
Oh, you was notified the day before.
Oh, right.
You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you were notified the day before. But as I say, you knew what time you was going to start, and then you'd be on a C class normally, or a W tank. That was another one we had there. They did have 2 King Arthurs there, 30772 and 30806. I can't recall the names now of what they were called, but of course they had names on the
Well,
side.
what sort of engines were they? Those King Arthurs?
They were a 460 express passenger.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Right.
And they were big, you know,
Big engines.
big engines. You know, when you put a little C class beside them, you know, blimey, what a difference. You know.
And C classes were used for what? For what?
C classes were used for goods.
Yeah.
You know, I can recall one little incident when I was a pass cleaner. One night I was there on my own, doing a night shift, and the running shift foreman come out. He said, right, take you off of that, you've got to go and get a C class ready.
Yeah.
He said, but first of all, you've got to go and call the brake down gang out.
Yeah.
I said, where? He said, out there. I said, well, you'll have to give me a map because I don't know Hither Green at all. So, turns out, he gives me a map and off we go. Thick fog, you know, and it was a pea soup again, really was. And eventually I find the first bloke and knock him up. So when I knocked the second bloke, he tells me where the second bloke lives. So I knocked him up, and he said, "Don't worry, the others have got telephones, I can call them."
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
right, he called them. So I made my way back to the station and told, right, C-Class out there, that's the one you're going to be using. So C-Class was rather an open engine. There wasn't much cover, like, you know, and it's a freezing cold night.
Yeah.
So we go, you get a fire going, and off we go eventually. I forget what time it was in the morning, but it was the early hours. And the breakdown crew has got an old wooden coach.
Right.
Right, so of course, when the job was done, they've got their head down.
Yeah.
And they've got a bloody great with fire in there. Well,
Yeah.
same to eat the whole coach up, like, you know. And we're freezing in our left hands and our right hands on the C-Class. And we sat up there at Hither Green. I can always remember it's about 3 hours before we got back. And you literally still couldn't see a hand in front. You couldn't see from the engine cab to the front of the engine.
Is that right?
That was how thick the fog was.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realise how thick the old fog is.
And that was caused by coal fires in London.
Yeah,
and
it was the
they called it smog, didn't they?
atmospheric,
Yeah.
as they called it. You know.
But they were very thick in those days. Very, very difficult.
Yeah. And as I say, we eventually got back to the Loco, I think about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I started to square the engine up, like,
Yeah,
and the foreman come out. He said, "Leave it alone, Jim. Take her off home, mate."
Yeah.
He said, "You've done enough already." So I went home. And then, of course, I come in the next night for cleaning again. And carried on cleaning for a couple of weeks. And then I thought, I see the vacancy sheet come out, and they wanted fireman at Nine Elms. So I thought, right, stick in.
Yeah.
And I stuck in, and I went to Nine Elms in I think that was about the October, or it might have been the early November, and I went to Nine Elms about a month later.
And Nine Elms is in London or
London,
London?
southwest.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Wandsworth or what.
That sort of area, was it? Yeah.
Not far from Battersea.
Oh, right.
And Stewart's Lane Depot was round there as
Yeah,
well, not very far.
But it was a big shed, wasn't it? Nine Elms?
Nine Elms were 26 roads in the shed.
Oh, there we are.
Quite a sizable.
Mm.
You know, you could drop a Hither Green with 6 roads.
Yes.
And you think, well, where was it? You know.
Yeah.
But that was the difference between the two sheds. But as now, they've still got the original, I believe at Hither Green, the original turntable there.
Have they?
Yeah.
Right.
Or they've definitely got the pit there if they've taken the turntable out.
Yeah.
But
And the turntable, for people who don't know, is where they used to turn the engines round, locomotives round, didn't they? On that.
Yeah. As I say, the engines used to be turned, you know, every day. Well, you work down head first, and you work head first coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you got to the small bridges over the top, you kept your head in case you got a rock off the top.
Yeah.
I used to use you for target practice, the kids did.
Did that? Oh, that's nice of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, what we used to do was, as we approached any bridges, we set the injector going, so we got the pet pipe there.
Yeah.
And that would put out about 25 foot of hot water initially at the stage of the engine, but perhaps by the time we got up there it was a little bit colder.
Yeah.
But it still had a bit of force behind it.
Yeah.
So of course we're standing there like, well, come on, and you let us have it, and we'll give it to you, like, you know. and occasionally the rocks come down, so the pit pipe went on, and
yeah.
they got wet as well, like, you know. But we had one particular job when I was firing. We've left, gone down to Surden. I was with a driver by the name of Dick Mantelow. He was well known for not knowing how to drive a steam engine. And we went from Surden up to Hampton Court on the first bit. And then that was about about 1957.
Yeah.
The early part, 57, 58.
Yeah.
And so we've, as I say, we've gone up to Hampton Court. We've done our little bit of shunting. I said to Dick, man, I'm going to clean the fire.